as you know, he is the 1984 EC batch of University College of Engineering. And when we come to the honors scholar received by so many eminent personalities in the country. So he is now adjudged with the Prime Ministers and Presidents of India. And the eminent persons. So that is a momentous occasion. So we have taken opportunity, and also in this regard I thank the Alumni Association, particularly Dr. 𝗕𝗓𝗄𝗧, made it materialized to interact with our young minds and our students. So my time is only 5 minutes. Just I wanted to highlight few points since 2 years, because already you are there in the inauguration of Alumni Association office in the ground floor. Sir, we have established a 3D printing center and cyber security, cyber law, and artificial intelligence and machine learning in the college. And the governing body chairman now reconstituted, and IIT Hyderabad Professor B.S. Murthy is our governing body chairman. He is a driving force for the college to develop and take lot of reforms, academic reforms. All the programs, UG, PG programs have been accredited by NBA and also approved by AICTE. And recently, 2 years back, we have started artificial intelligence and machine learning program. And in your department, since long, the 50 intake was there, and we have changed from 50 to 60 from the past 2 years. And also, biomedical engineering changed from increased intake from 30 to 40. And another good news is that now our college has got extension of autonomy for 10 years up to 3032. Recently, just 4 days back, we have received a letter from AICTE to start BE BTech program for working professionals, that is for diploma holders, with this academic year. In this academic year, so we are formulating modalities, and initially we have applied for 3 programs. All 3 programs, mechanical, civil, and A&ML programs, going to start from 23-24 academic year. So as per the 21-point agenda, the mooted by Honorable Vice Chancellor, we have taken a lot of reforms in the curriculum. We have introduced some of the units which are taught exclusively by alumni industry persons as per their convenience, online mode, offline mode, or blended mode. And also we have introduced BE minors and honors in all the programs. So recently, BFSI, Banking, Financial Services and Insurance, minor also introduced. There is a consortium, is there, BSI consortium. So the first college is our college, which is approved in the academic council to introduce BFSI minor in all the departments, 7 departments. So regarding placements, almost 100%, sir, for all the circuit branches and 80% for the non-circuit branches. And our average package is 12 lakhs for circuit branches, particularly computer science, and 10 lakhs for other branches. And we are conducting regularly alumni talks, academic research lectures, guest lecture by eminent personalities, and also introduced graduate exit feedback. At the time of going out, we are conducting like this, and we are taking feedback of the outgoing students, and we are implementing their views in terms of academics and also infrastructure into the college. Another good news is that Coal India Limited has sanctioned 3 crore rupees towards institution of the Professor Child in the Department of Mining Engineering. Already it is approved and advertisement has given. And the foundation stone was laid on 8 March 2023 for construction of classroom complex for EC department. Just now we witnessed, and which is sponsored by Singareni Calories Company Limited under CSR funds. 2 crores were given to construct EC classroom complex. So Sri 𝗕𝗓𝗓 IAS, your junior Sri 𝗕𝗓𝗓 IAS, CMD of SSCL, is instrumental in sanctioning this 2 crore rupees. Apart from this, he also sanctioned 3 crore rupees for institution of chair professor for again mining department. For 2 chair professors we have already given advertisement. So recently, last month, we have received a letter from NTPC Limited stating that they have sanctioned 5 crores towards the infrastructure development for the mining engineering department. That means mining engineering department is going to be constructed shortly. And another good news, you might have stayed in Kinder Hostel, that is the fourth year students used to stay. There is a Kinder Hostel, is very old. So in place of that, we have laid a construction for 500 bedded boys hostel, which is foundation stone laid by Honorable Minister for Education, P. 𝗪𝗬𝗗𝗬𝗓 Garu, in the presence of Honorable Vice Chancellor and respected Registrar. And also our college has been certified by SO in terms of quality education, quality food, and including guest house food. And S&P Global, a 60 years old company, USA, through University of Hyderabad, has given 1.26 crores worth of computers and video conference systems to our college last year. They promised to extend same facility for 3 years, and 41 students, girl students particularly, they got tuition fees refund, and all girl students, they already got it through S&P Global. And MOU is signed with the OU Foundation with the 𝗪𝗫𝗄 Corporation USA to establish Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning Center in the college level, being the nodal department is ECE. So your junior Veena Gundavelli Madam is instrumental in sanctioning AI lab to the ECE department. So our future plans are, we are going to construct classroom complex for CSE department because ANML is already added, and mining engineering department and electrical engineering department going to celebrate Platinum Jubilee celebrations this next year. So they are also planning to construct the separate building for electrical engineering department. And also we are planning to construct 2 crores worth of engineering college canteen shortly, and we are one donor is ready to sponsor for that. And also providing gym facilities for the girls and the upgradation of existing gym facility for the boys. So with this, I don't want to take much time. There are a lot of list is there because interaction is very important. So I thank you, sir, for visiting our college and going to interact with our students. And once again, from all our fraternity, students and faculty, we congratulate you for receiving honoris causa. Honoris causa means Gaudav Doctorate, Telugu. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. That was definitely. Are the living embodiment. Alumni Association, UCO. I would now like to request Dr. 𝗕𝗵𝗗𝗬𝗀 sir to address the gathering. Please welcome him with a huge round of applause.
Warm welcome to the Chief Guest of the Day, Shri Shantanu Narayen, professors on the class, honored professors on the class, my teachers, seniors, alums, and my dear children. It's a great moment to be here today because Shantanu being here, taking out time, 1 full day from his schedule is, I just can't say anything more than that. I represent the alumni fraternity of this great institution. And I think on behalf of our association and everyone, I think we should thank our Vice President of the association, Satish Naik, for making it. So I think we humbly thank him. Now, I don't think
we can give an introduction to Shantanu over here. All of us know Shantanu, right? Yes or no? Can't hear? Yes, sir. Fantastic. Okay. Now children, my suggestion to all us, it's a golden opportunity for each one of us over here to interact with him, including the faculty. Any question you have which he can answer on an open podium, let's be very careful, okay? Please feel free to ask. And today, for this day, he is one amongst us. He has graduated from the same portals. About 40 years ago, he was exactly like each one of us over here. So with due respect to his position, etc., ensure that the questions that are going to come from you are, absolutely, that can be answered professionally from here. Okay. So you can ask anything, what was his journey, how did he spend his time here, anything under the sun. Okay, because we've also seen him but for a very glimpse period, but some of the seniors we have seen, some of them actually, I will not call it ragging, but, they did pull our leg when we came in the first year. Okay. So, I think that's it. Second is, please do not crowd for photographs or selfies. Okay, it's not manners. We'll stop for a second and take photos, but let's not, make the atmosphere claustrophobic. These are my two suggestions to you. Next thing, I don't know if this would be known to people. I don't know if somebody is going to talk about it, but one thing I would like to share over here is, most of us are looking at how come, about Osmania Foundation kind of thing. Last year when our Vice Chancellor Garu visited California, he had met Shantanu. And one of the key suggestions that he had made is create a foundation, and that took shape into what is called as Osmania Foundation. The moment he came back from US as an umbrella organization for the whole university, Osmania Foundation was created. And thank you, Chief, for the advice and suggestions. In 1 year, close to 20 crores has been raised through this foundation. And I would humbly, because we were talking about it, because the associations, it's a very old model, society model and all. If you look at all the great institutions on the globe and also in India, and the institutions that we went to, like IIM Bangalore and all, they moved away from associations and created foundations. So we've been advising about this. Okay. And even IITs and all have moved to foundation. They're no longer the typical alumni associations kind of an environment. So I think we thank you for the great start for Osmania Foundation. We've signed up a lot of industry, academia, MOUs and agreements in the last meeting we had. Okay. So thank you once more. And the alumni fraternity, and I'm sure today our alma mater is humbled for you to be here. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I would like to remind you that we really look up to you and the Alumni Association. Moving on, our institution stands tall in the pursuit of excellence and is an embodiment of dreams, a sanctuary of knowledge, and a cradle of thousands of aspirations. It has carved countless success stories, and one such story is of our esteemed guest and an alumnus of our college, Shri Shantanu Narayen sir. Mr. Shantanu Narayen sir pursued his academic journey with unwavering determination. He earned his bachelor's degree in Electronics and Communications Engineering from Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering at Osmania University. Sir's thirst for knowledge led him to attain a master's degree in Computer Science from Bowling Green State University, where he honed his skills and deepened his understanding of the digital realm. Sir is the chairman and CEO at Adobe, a position where his visionary leadership came to the fore. Under his guidance, Adobe became a trailblazer and revolutionized the digital media and marketing software landscape. His strategic acumen and innovative thinking were instrumental in maintaining Adobe's position as a global leader in the industry. Throughout his illustrious career, Sir's contributions have garnered widespread recognition. He has been honored with numerous awards, including a prestigious position on Fortune's Business Person of the Year list. In 2019, his outstanding achievements were acknowledged with India's esteemed civilian honor, the Padma Shri. This is a reflection of his significant impact on both the national and international technology sectors. Beyond his professional accomplishments, Shantanu Narayen Sir is known for his philanthropic endeavors and his commitment to driving positive change. I would now like to request Professor 𝗕𝗵𝗵𝗀𝗀𝗧 Sir, Principal UCOU, to felicitate our esteemed guests. I would request the dignitaries on the dais to join him. Please give him a huge round of applause. As we lend our ears to the wisdom that Sir is about to unfold, let us not merely listen, let us absorb. With an immense honor, I would now like to request Shri Shantanu Narayen Sir to address the gathering. Please welcome him with a huge round of applause.
Well, good morning. First, let me thank Professor 𝗕𝗵𝗵𝗀𝗧, Dr. Vijay-Kumar, Professor 𝗪𝗳𝗏, Professor 𝗪𝗓𝗏 for having me here today. It is truly an honor, and it's great to see some old classmates that I had when I was here. Let me first start off by saying I'm a Hyderabadi, and so coming back to Hyderabad, where my entire family has been for generations, is truly a pleasure. My father actually studied in Osmania Engineering College. When he studied in Osmania Engineering College, he did it in Urdu. The first year they were actually teaching in Urdu, and he studied electrical engineering here. My mother has multiple degrees from Osmania, including a PhD. And so when I told her that I was going to be getting a PhD, she did remind me that she actually worked much harder for a PhD than I did. And then for decades, she actually taught both at the Osmania College for Women in 𝗕𝗏𝗃𝗃 as well as Arts College. And so the pursuit of education, I think, has been something that's been in my family for a long time. My entire family, actually, whether you consider the affiliate universities as well, including Nizam College and others. A number of them studied here. So when I wanted to go to college, I actually wanted to be a journalist, and I've talked about this a lot because my mother taught English, I loved English, I was the editor of the school newspaper in Hyderabad Public School, 𝗵𝗵𝗃𝗃, which is where I went to high school. But in those days, as you know, it was perceived that either you had to do engineering or you had to do medicine. And the sight of blood scared me, so I said engineering was probably the lesser of the two evils. But I loved it. I absolutely loved being in engineering college. And, when I reflect back on this day, and I'll touch on this later this evening, the first few years were really characterized for me by making what are now lifelong friends. I was telling some of my friends here that every week, even now, we have a Zoom session where 6 or 7 of us engineering college classmates get together. So I guess my first message to you is, while academics is important, take the time to make lifelong friends, because lifelong friends are a support structure that works with you for the rest of your life. The other thing I would say is that I actually participated in a whole bunch of other activities. It was great to hear your diction and how articulate you are. But I also edited the newspaper here. I participated in debates. In these corridors, we used to play ping pong and tennis. I was the college tennis champion. I represented India in sailing. In other words, I did everything that I could not to study engineering for the first few years, is the truth be told. But it was, Professor 𝗪𝗲𝗃𝗪 and, Professor 𝗕𝗲𝗏𝗪 is here, that at some point in me, the love for computers and the love for electrical engineering was really kindled. And that has turned out to be, the blessing of a lifetime. I studied microprocessors, and I think it was my 4th year, first semester, and even my batch, I did, we wrote a terminal, we wrote an operating system. It was called CRT terminal using 8085 microprocessors. So I'm clearly dating myself in terms of how old I am when I did that. But what I want to tell you all is that, you may not realize it today, but the faculty here, when they instill in you that love for learning, it's the love for learning and the ability to learn that really hopefully stays with you for a lifetime. So on your behalf, I'm going to thank actually all of the faculty, because while you don't realize it now, they are actually giving you the gift of a lifetime, which is the gift of learning. And I certainly received that. I'll spend a few minutes on Adobe and then let's open it up for questions, because I do want to interact. I've had a blessed career, and at Adobe I've been there for over 25 years. I think all of you know Adobe is the company that our mission is to change the world through digital experiences. When I joined the company was less than $1 billion in revenue. We're over 20 billion in revenue right now. The market cap of the company was $1 billion. We're now one of the most valuable companies on the planet. We're over $250 billion. But it comes from the fact that we have intellectual. We like to say we're in the intellectual property business, and all our intellectual property, namely our people, go home every night. And so I think in whatever career all of you pursue, remember that it's the pursuit of intellectual property that at the end of the day is how companies thrive, how companies survive, and how companies change. And I've been fortunate enough to have an incredible team that I've been part of as a result of that. But with that, I'm actually, thank you again, Osmania University. I like to say, the thing that we always do when we meet on Saturday mornings is we introduce ourselves. So I'll introduce myself as roll number 80321 in OUEC. It really is a pleasure to be here. Thank you. And now if there are any questions, I'm happy to take questions. If there are no questions, we'll all go back to work. So. Thank you. No questions. Okay, there we are. Oh, you're just taking pictures. I don't get the selfie thing, I will say that. We have this product called Photoshop. All you have to do is take a picture of me, take a picture of yourself, put it in Photoshop, and it becomes your selfie, so you don't really need a selfie.
Very good morning, sir. Very good morning, sir. My name is Venu. I'm from EC. I'm a final year student at EC Osmania University. So my question to you is, sir, as you are...
First, no, sir, please. Refer to me as Shantanu. We're very egalitarian in California, and I don't know what sir means. I don't refer to anybody as sir. By the way, one thing I should start. I was just told by Professor 𝗪𝗲𝗪 that the diversity right now, that we had 60% of the incoming class, 60+% are women. I think that is absolutely fantastic for this country. It's just an incredible. Sorry, go ahead.
Shantanu sir,
I think we just said we're not going to say sir. Shantanu, that's okay. You can do it.
Shantanu, when you lack confidence in your at your college time, like when you have a single digit in your mid marks, like what was your what are your strategies to get enthusiasm from, like energy? Like how did you tackle mental stress in college?
It's a good question, and I think the reality right now is that college is probably way more stressful right now than it even was in our time. And I think the thing you realize is that each one of us puts a lot of pressure on ourselves. And I think, again, whether it's the friends or the family structure helps, try and understand. I will tell you, when I took over as CEO of Adobe, this was in 2007, I took over. And in 2008, we had record revenues. So I'm like, how hard can this be? Even I can do the job. And then in 2009, the recession hit. And when the recession hit, your revenue drops by 25%. And it was a tough time. But I think there's something about the Indian philosophies of taking the long-term view. The thing that I always say is that in your career, you want more opportunities. And you're not going to succeed. I mean, I've been getting up every morning in California at 1:30 to watch cricket. I'm an absolute cricket fan. I am part owner of the San Francisco, which is the local IPL team in San Francisco. And so when you're a cricketer, how many times do you get out for zero? A lot of times, right? I mean, Kohli, last match, he got out for zero. It doesn't matter, because he's going to come back the next time and he's going to realize that he wants more opportunities. So I think my message to all of you in terms of confidence is you're not going to ace every exam. It's okay. As long as you do it for the right reasons. And I'm not sure I always did it for the right reasons when I was in college, but at some point that love of education awakens in us. And so, don't put extra pressure on yourself. All you can do is you can do your best and things work out. I mean, I went from Osmania University. I had applied to a lot of different engineering colleges. My first choice was University of Texas at Austin because my brother went to school there. My second choice was the University of Illinois Urbana. And that's because my father went to school there. So those were my first two choices. I got admission in both places. They were both for electrical or electronics engineering. And I applied to Bowling Green, as you mentioned, and I got admission in Bowling Green for computer science. I went to Bowling Green, and at that point, if you can look at it and say, academically, it was probably true that University of Illinois or University of Texas at Austin, I got into University of California, Berkeley. They were probably better institutions from a purely academic point of view. But on my first day in Bowling Green, I met my wife. And so the pursuit of education, turned out to be a really good thing for me. So I guess my point is, all you can do is you can do your best. The rest, you have to not worry about it. And I think it's how one rebounds from adversity that is frankly more important than not dealing with adversity. And I would say if you have adversity or tough times early in your career, you won't realize it at that point, but it's actually a gift. Because you learn how to deal with it, you learn how to move forward, and that's the most important thing. So do your best, and the rest, it's going to happen.
Thank you, sir.
Get more opportunities for yourself. That's the thing. Pursue different ideas.
Yeah. Shantanu ji, Osmania.
Okay, I'll take this, then I'll take you next.
Yes. So I'm the faculty of mechanical engineering. So when you are a student of this great 100-plus-year-old university, exactly did you decide during your engineering you want to become a 𝗕𝗲𝗃 or maybe CEO of a great company in the world and ruling of entire world, or what exactly the motivated you want to become a CEO?
I can honestly say, my family, the one thing that I'm very blessed is my entire family, the one thing they always had complete support was for education. As I said, my mother has, an MPhil in English literature, and she has a PhD. My father, in those days, in 1953, to go on a boat to the United States to study was very unusual. So, for him as well, the pursuit of education is important. My wife actually has 3 masters and, PhD. So, I'm actually the least qualified person in my family in terms of education. But to answer your question, because my father had gone to the States, and because my brother, I have only one brother, he's my older brother, he went to IIT Madras and then he was in the States, I always knew I had to go abroad and study, and I wanted to get the experience of studying. And so that was my first thing. Once I did that, I realized I was not a researcher. I liked solving computer problems. If you gave me a computer problem, I would solve it. But I knew I didn't want to do a PhD, so, much like my classmate 𝗧-𝗦𝗰𝗵 here, I went and did an MBA. So I did an MBA at Berkeley, which was a great thing, because I knew I wanted to be in the business of technology. So that was the second thing I did. Now, conventional wisdom, after you do an MBA, I was told by everybody, I was an engineering manager at that point at Apple Computer, so I was doing engineering management, I did my MBA, and everybody told me, hey, now that you've done an MBA, you shouldn't be in engineering, you should go off, and you should now become a product manager, or you should become a general manager or a business unit. And that was not what I liked. I like building products, and I like, to this day, I love building engineering projects. I use every one of my products, I try and do my beta testing. And so I determined that I didn't want to do something that was conventional wisdom. And I think my career has been characterized by not doing what's conventional wisdom. And so, everybody will tell you, oh my God, you have to go to this school, and then you have to do this. When people ask me for advice, I always say, be careful what you ask for. You're not paying for that advice, so it's worthless, if that makes sense. And so I never really wanted to be a CEO. At some point I said, I want to pursue, I want to do more. I took a lot of initiative, both at Apple, and then I started my own company called Pictra. We did image sharing on the web. It was, in the 90s we said people will want to share images. The company didn't do great, but I learned a lot. And so I always take the positive from any experience. And then, I kept getting more responsibility because I took initiative. But I did not really plot saying, I want to be a CEO. If I don't become CEO, it's not going to, my career is... And there are people who do that. But all of you know what's best for you. And what's best for me is I like building products. And so that's why I think I have the best job in the company. The founder of Adobe, when he made me CEO, this was, again, many, many years ago, he told me one thing that I will always remember, and I think it's good advice for everybody. He told me if I don't like my job, I have one person to blame. In other words, he was telling me that if I didn't like my job, I was not a victim. I was the only person that I should blame, myself. And so I think that really worked out. And then at some point, I realized I was in the running for CEO. And, the competitive part of me, as I said, I was a competitive tennis player, I was a competitive ping pong player. I still remember losing in the finals here in the table tennis tournament to Satish. And, I won the first 2 games, he won the last 3 games. So you can tell I'm a little competitive and I have a good memory. So I was competitive and I became CEO, and now I'm competitive for the company. But I didn't pursue being CEO as the only thing that would characterize me. It's worked out well, but if it doesn't happen, you have to find the things that make you happy. And don't do things because others tell you you need to do it. And I've never done that. I've always pursued my dreams, and I've been fortunate in that my parents have encouraged me to do that. So that would be my feedback. And 16 years later, I'm still doing it. It's actually on the longer side. If you think about average CEO tenure now for an S&P 500 company in the US, it's less than 6 years. I don't know what else I would do, and so I like what I'm doing, and I keep doing it.
Hi Shantanu, I'm Amka from EC final year.
Okay.
So since you did masters in CS in the States, how is the lifestyle different from India?
How is the what different?
Lifestyle.
Oh, lifestyle. I really believe this when I say the opportunity that all of you, 40 years ago, when we all graduated, a number of us used to go to the States because we felt like the opportunities, whether it was universities and further pursuit or jobs, were, they were so much more in the United States than they are in India. I mean, I've said this publicly. I don't know if I was graduating today whether I would go to the United States because there's so much opportunity in this country, and being able to do it in this country with the culture that we have and the family that we have. I think that would be way more supporting. But I hesitate to say this a little bit, but it's the truth. I was not a great student, as my classmates here know. I was not a great student here in Osmania. I did all these other things. As I said, in my final year, I said, okay, I've got to buckle down and I've got to get to be a serious. So the first thing I did when I went to Bowling Green is I said, okay, let me prove to myself that I can get, there you have an A, B, C, D grading system. You don't have a grading system that has marks. So I said, I want to get all A's. I want to get the equivalent of a 4.0 GPA. And so I worked really hard. So the lifestyle there, unlike here, all I did was study. It helped my brother. My elder brother is 3 years older than me, and he saw in me a lot of potential, but he also knew I was a little bit of a 𝗧𝗲𝗯𝗵, so he said, I've got to... So he told me that if I got a B in any class in the US, I would get deported back to India. And so I was convincing myself I didn't want to get deported. So I studied very hard. I got straight A's in my master's in computer science because I wanted to prove to myself more than anybody else that I could do academics. And I fell in love. I fell in love, as I said, with computer science. I mean, I actually did something very wise. I went back and I took even undergrad classes. So I took a data structures class, and all of you teach this. I was truly amazed to hear that we're teaching AI, ML here, and hopefully you're teaching models and all of that. When I went to school here, as we all know, we had to go, the Fortran lab was to the right here. So we would take, all those, papers and punch cards and send in the punch cards. And so the academic experience in the US is whatever you make of it. And some people decided that they wanted to have an academic experience and a social experience. I was very clear. For a year and a half, I really wanted to have the academic experience. I wanted to prove to myself that I was going to do it. In my second year, as Neil knows, one of my best friends, a person who was with me right through high school, college, came, and we both roomed together. So 𝗧-𝗕𝗓𝗏, who was ECE batch of 85, he and I, we're still best friends to this day. He stayed with me, and so it was a great experience my second year. But I worked hard. There's a law of how much you have to work. I just started a little bit later, and I keep doing it right now. So things have worked out. Thank you. Yep, I can hear you.
Yeah. So, Shantanu ji.
No, behind you, sorry. There's one behind you with a mic and that. Okay.
Good morning, Shantanu sir.
Again, no sir, but it's okay. Keep going. A little loudly.
Good morning, Shantanu sir. Sir, my question to you is that who gave you the first promotion in Adobe? Because for an Indian to travel overseas and get a job in US, it's not very easy to climb up the steps. So whom are you more grateful for? Who is the one who you dedicate your CEO designation?
It's a really good question. I've had the gift. I mean, there's so many people that I'm fortunate for all the opportunities that I have. So I wouldn't say it's one person. I mean, I heard the question. I think as much of it, honestly, I was the first Indian CEO of a high-tech company. Nowadays, if you're not an Indian, Nowadays, if you're not an Indian that's named a high-tech CEO, people wonder what's going on. And I think it's more a reflection of America as well, it is the land of opportunity. For those of you who don't know, Satya Nadella, who's the CEO of Microsoft, he and I went to the same high school. He's from Hyderabad as well. And so Satya and I went to HPS together, and when he became CEO, he came to me and, we both were talking about how the US gives us. But there are two messages I would send you. I once worked for an Indian in Apple called 𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓. 𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓 was one of the fundamental innovators of our time. He actually invented plug-and-play networking. We all take it for granted, things like Bluetooth and all of that, but the precursor of that was Apple Talk. and 𝗪𝘁𝗰𝗵 invented it, and I worked for him directly. Everything that I did, 𝗪𝘁𝗰𝗵 would say, yeah, that was okay, now go do better. And in those days when I was working for him, I would feel really upset because it felt like nothing that I did was good enough for him. Later I realized that in his own way, he thought that I had immense potential and he wanted me to get my potential. So find the people, not necessarily just the people who say you've done a good job, but find the people who also will tell you that you can do better. Because if you can find the people who are going to tell you that you can do better, you hopefully strive for more. I'll talk about Adobe briefly because you asked that. I joined in '98 as a general manager. In June of '98, the company hit a wall and we actually had to do layoffs. We did 25% layoffs and I had to completely change my role. And I said, hey, you know, I've come in as a general manager, should I change my roles? Because they didn't want me to be a general manager, they wanted me to run layout engineering and ship InDesign, which was a layout product. And so the lesson for me was, if you do what's important in the company at that point, people will remember it. There are a lot of people who go work at a company and all they want to know is what's in it for them. Which is like, why am I not getting a promotion? Why am I not getting a salary increase? And it's about me. And I think I always showed that it was about the company first. And I think part of my success is attributed to the fact that I always put the company first and me second. And so, you know, when I did that in June of '98, when the company hit a wall, they completely changed my role. I had half the people who were reporting to me that I had when I joined, and I said, it's okay. They want me to do this, I'll go do this. 6 months later, I was promoted to run all of engineering. So the point is, your careers will go through some zigzags. Think about if you're learning, and think about if it's the right thing for a company. Because if it's the right thing for a company, you know, good things will happen. So that was my thing. But it was the two founders of Adobe, John Warnock and Chuck Geschke, who I think saw in me some potential, and I'll give them credit. I mean, I was, as I said, the first Indian CEO of a high-tech company. They never made me feel like I was an Indian. They always made me feel like, you know, they made me feel like I was doing good work, and if I was doing good work, it was a meritocracy. And I think that's an amazing, you know, tribute to the US. Thank you. Thank you.
Hi Shantanu.
Okay.
I'm Shanmugh. I'm passed out of this college. I'm currently a consultant. You've been in the Silicon Valley for a very long time. You have seen the rise and fall of several digital companies. I just want to ask, what was the one thing that let you stay at Adobe for such a long time?
Nobody else gave me a job, so if nobody else gave me a job, I had to stay at Adobe for the longest time. I mean, again, I was very fortunate. You know, I just started a company. I started a company called Pictra. We raised $30 million. This was in '94, '95. I thought people would want to share images. You know, digital photography was just happening. I was very passionate about digital photography. And so Adobe was looking to buy the company. They didn't end up buying the company. We sold our technology to Fuji, and I joined Adobe. And truth be told, at that point, I said, okay, the entrepreneurial genes were still in me. I thought I'd stay at Adobe for 9 months to a year, and then I'd go off and start another company. As I just told in the previous answer, within 9 months, they asked me to run all engineering. Why do people start companies? Why do people start companies? They start a small company. Some get motivated by financial rewards. Some get motivated by recognition. Some get motivated by, you know, building products. As I said, I was always passionate about building products. So within 9 months, if you get the opportunity to run all engineering, to drive, you know, what is the brand of a company? I mean, think of it. How many other companies do you know in the world that have a brand, two brands that are part of the vocabulary? The fact that Photoshop and PDF are part of every person's vocabulary in computers. Google has one. It's Google, right? I mean, so it was very fortunate to be there. And so, you know, the other thing I always say when people ask me for, you know, what makes sense, it always looks like the grass is greener on the other side. The grass is not always greener on the other side. And the number of people who've left Adobe and then realized, oh my God, I left for a worse company and, you know, they don't have the values. So I say people do their best work when you resonate with what the mission is of a company and the values of the company. I like what Adobe stands for. We're changing the world through digital experiences. I mean, chances are the packaging on this bottle, a piece of Adobe software was used, right, to create this. The newspapers, the magazines. I mean, you know, Adobe is used ubiquitously. And so I'm in the fortunate position. So I can honestly say, in the 25 years I've been at Adobe, I've never taken a phone call to find another job. So I will retire at Adobe, and but I'm fortunate. So find the companies. When you find a company, find the company that you look at and say, does what they do really resonate with me? Do I feel a sense of pride? And then within that, take the initiative to find the job that you want. And if you don't like it, people's careers, it's a two-way street. Everybody thinks the company owes them. You owe the company as much. And so if you think of that with that attitude, right, which is I'm going to do my best and the company will hopefully give me the opportunities, then great things happen. But the truth is I haven't got a job by anybody else yet, so I'm still at Adobe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi Shantanu, this is Rohit from final year Computer Science. So I have a question. Like we have a problem that the statement that's traveling in social media, like young guys should work for 70 to 80 hours a week. So as a CEO, what's your view on that? So do you expect the same from young guys in the industry?
You know, I think as it relates to work ethic, right, and as it relates to what you need to do, the question is again, what's right for you? I mean, if you want to, you know, there's, I was a tennis player, as I said. You know, I was a tennis player growing up, and there's a saying by Boris Becker, you know, who was at one point one of the great tennis players, which is, he said, if you're not practicing, somebody else is. Just remember that. So it's a question of what you want and what your expectations are for yourself. There is no right or wrong answer. Frankly, you should ignore what I say. For me, I work hard because I like what I do. And, you know, I want to accomplish things. And so it's up to you, right? I mean, there is an element of, if you want to work 100 hours, work 100 hours. And I would say for me, my career, there are times when, you know, something is due and you work like crazy. And there are other times when, you know, people ask me about work-life balance. I'll answer that question a different way. They ask me about my work-life balance. In the 25 years that I've been at Adobe, there hasn't been one day when I've worked. So some people can look at it and say, oh my God, you're not setting a great role model for, you know, when you disconnect. At the same time, people who work for me and work with me, if they want to take time off, I'm unbelievably supportive of them taking time off. Because they have different, and what I say is, I have multiple passions. My family is my passion, golf is a passion, so pursue your passions. You know, this, should I work 70 hours or 80 hours at Adobe? We don't take attendance. We don't have you come in and you have to, you know, sign in when you come in and you have to sign out when you leave. And so, you know, social media loves to make this drama of what people say. You should do what you want. You know, if you want to work hard, and you'll get whatever the results of that is. If you don't want to work hard, it's your choice. You know, the main thing I would tell people is don't take this victim mentality of like, I'm being told what to do. You are more in control of your career, your destiny, than you give yourself credit. And you only have yourself, as my boss told me, I have only myself to blame if I don't like what I do. So that's how I would answer your question. Yeah, I'll say that again. Nowadays for CEOs, sorry, I'm running out of time. You'll tell me when, you know, just turn off the mic, like the Oscars or music, right? Just turn off the mic and then I'll know I'm done. But, okay, right. There is no right. It's what you want. Sure.
Hello, Shantanu.
Hi.
I'm Sanjana, triple first year student. So I just want to ask you that, what's your ultimate source? Am I audible?
Yeah.
What's your ultimate source of motivation? Because for me, like, motivation is the most volatile thing ever. Like, I'm listening to you, I'm motivated, like, for 5 days, I go home, then it all vaporizes. So, what is the source of your motivation? What keeps you going in life?
You know, again, there's personal motivation and there's professional motivation. I just became a grandfather for the first time, and so, you know, on the personal side, motivation is seeing his face every morning and, you know, seeing about what his kids were doing. And, you know, we now take tremendous pride in what my kids are doing. One is a venture capitalist, one works for Spotify. So that's motivation Flash, which, I mean, doesn't exist today, but we pioneered, the internet as you know it today, rich interactive applications, the ability to take video on the net. So I get tremendous motivation by seeing what my team does and the gratification of what they have done and the impact that that has on society. I'm here in India, but today at the White House, President Biden invited us because he's doing AI on artificial intelligence. They're announcing a big artificial intelligence, new executive order, and Adobe actually influenced that. We've done a lot in this area called content authenticity to avoid fake news, and so I get motivated by the world's content is produced by Adobe, but we're not only taking the technology aspect, we take social responsibility very seriously. And how do we do it? So that motivates me. When you become a CEO, the truth is, and don't tell anybody this, you do less and less yourself. You have an entire team of people who do amazing stuff. And so you have to get motivated and you have to get gratification from what your team does. If you can't get pride in the fact that these 30,000 employees are doing their best work and making a difference in society, you're in the wrong job. So professionally, I get motivated by impact. When somebody looks at me and says, hey, I used Photoshop to do something, that's a matter of great pride. When people say I exchange all my information through PDF, so that's how I get my motivation. It's nice being here too. I mean, it is motivating to be with, I love meeting people. Hybrid work really, got to me. I mean, I get energy from people. I hopefully impart some energy to people. And so that's motivating too. I mean, next generation to see the excitement, the opportunity, the fact that you have a great education, that's also motivating because it means that India, the economy in India, there isn't a CEO in the world who isn't saying, I've got to go figure out how I use India at my advantage. This is the moment for India, honestly. With everything that is happening, you created it. This is the moment. We have an incredible demographics, we have an incredible economy, we have incredible access to intellectual property, we have access to capital. If we don't take advantage of it in India right now, I don't know that this opportunity will come back again. So seize the moment, absolutely seize the moment. Start your own company, go work for a company, do non-profit, whatever motivates you, make an impact.
Good morning, sir. My name is Mahesh, PhD student. Good morning, sir.
You guys are all very good students. The one thing you haven't learned is when I say don't call me sir, that's the one thing you don't seem to be learning. That's okay. Sorry, go ahead.
Sir, it's a great privilege. It's a great privilege to talk in this campus. My question is, sir, in India mostly, especially in Osmania campus, most of the people are from marginalized sections.
From what side?
Most of the people from marginalized people, marginalized people. Yeah.
Okay.
We think that the government job is ultimate in life. But in the artificial world, the world is transforming like anything. My simple question is, after 5 or 10 years, I want to stand there and I want to interact like people. What you have interacted with, like you. But what kind of mindset we need to have and what type of skills we need to acquire, and mostly how to handle the fail in this business world. That's all.
When I grew up in India, I used to always say that, reading, writing, and arithmetic, in the 3 R's, and if you had access to education, education is the great equalizer, right? When people get access to an education, then, they have opportunity. And, all of us want opportunity, and I think education is a great on-ramp to opportunity. So the way I would answer your question is, it used to be reading, writing, and arithmetic. Today it's access to computing, right? It's access to computing, it's digital literacy, it's the ability to take your idea. Access to capital is not an issue in this country. It really isn't, right? And so you're fortunate. You can always look at it and say, oh my God, somebody else has the other option. class, they ask you to write down. You're actually giving your retirement speech, which I haven't used yet, as you can tell. But it's actually a very instructive thing. So you're introducing yourself to every new CEO, and all of them are first-time CEOs. It was a class, and you're giving your retirement speech. So I had to write down what I wanted as my objectives and what I wanted as my goals. And then I've tried to figure out how I could achieve those. So that's what I would say. There's always going to be somebody that you can look at and say they have more opportunity than me. If you do that, you'll probably feel bad. There's also always somebody that you can look at and feel like you have way more opportunity than them. And I think that's the way I've tried to live my life. And it's worked out well so far. It's worked out well. So I don't know if that helps, but that's what I will say. Pursue your studies, then write down what you would like to achieve, and then find people who can help you with that, right? Find your self-help group. When I took over as CEO, there were 4 other people who were also CEOs at the same time. And we became a self-help group. We would meet once a quarter, and we would tell each other what was going well in our lives, and we would tell each other what was not going well in our lives. But we were a support structure to help us. So that's the other thing I would say. Find friends. I mean, as I said, I still get together with my Osmania Engineering College classmates once a week. Once a week we get together and we talk about what's going on in our lives. That's an incredible blessing. Sure.
Hello sir, I'm Vaishnavi from 𝗕𝗵𝗗𝗃𝗏 first year. I have 2 questions for you, and I promise I won't take much of your time. My very first question, as you said you love cricket, so who's your favorite cricketer? How do you make the correct decision?
No, I'm fine, don't worry. It's okay, don't worry. I'm old, but not that old yet. No, I'm just kidding. I'm fine. I get energy by standing, so. It's a great question. I will tell you, part of what you have to do is you become all senior managers. It is very rare. It's very rare that my entire senior management team comes to me and says, Shantanu, we're all unanimous about this decision we need to make. What do you think? Right? Because then that's an easy decision. Chances are they're going to come to you and say, hey, 2 of us think we should do this, 2 of us think we should do this. You make the decision, right? And I've got very comfortable with making decisions. And I'll tell you why I've become very comfortable with making decisions. I've become very comfortable because I'm not always right. And I'm comfortable with that. If you can't get comfortable with making a decision and saying I'm going to make wrong decisions, then you're not going to be in the position that I am, be able to make the kinds of bets or investments that we need to make. So we make investments, billions of dollars of investments in technology. question from an academic, which is interesting for me, was about, what is it about the undergrad education and the curriculum? What parts of it do you use? I mean, the speculation is that a lot of what you learn, you don't potentially use. I think the best part about what you get in education is how to think, correct? And how to be logical. And so, you're right. I think, if you're studying computer science or AI machine learning or mechanical or whatever you're studying, and you're doing a PhD and you're going to become an academics, you're going to use that material way more than if you're like me, where I studied computer science, but then I'm now in management. However, when somebody comes to me, it's just before coming here, I had a 3-hour meeting with the Adobe research folks. And these are Adobe research, they're, the best researchers at Adobe, they're all doing our, models for imaging. If you look at our generative AI models, it's called 𝗪𝗪𝗪. Check out 𝗪𝗪𝗪.adobe.com. See, I'm always selling also. In my role, you have to sell software. So, I'm sitting with them. And I would say it's my grounding in computer science that at least helps me understand when they talk about diffusion models versus autoregressive models, and they talk about the training of the data and all of that. If I'm not at least at the point where I can understand the basics of computer science and what that means, I don't think I can do my job as effectively as I can. Now, you're right in that, am I actually using that to write code nowadays? The answer is no. But was that knowledge important for me to decide? I'll give you another example. If people are like, hey, we've got to build this product this way or build this product that way. In engineering, everybody always tells you why something cannot be done. And in my job, I have to, convince them that it can be done. I mean, you have to get people amaze you with their ingenuity. I always say my management job, if I can connect all the dots between where I want the company to go and where we are today, I'm not being ambitious enough. I'm not being aspirational enough. So, long-winded way of saying is, it all depends on what you're going to do with that education. I think if you go into academics, if you go into research, if you're in the research lab, I would say they do that. They all write papers. We publish at Adobe, I think, more papers at 𝗧-𝗧𝗪𝗪, which is the area that we are in a lot. I don't use that directly, but I use the knowledge to understand and to be able to help. And so I would say how you think is way more important than perhaps the actual material. Yeah. The truth is, Professor, the other thing that I'm very knowledgeable about is what I'm good at and what I'm a specialist at, and what I'm not good at and what I'm not a specialist at. And I'll tell you why I say this. Nowadays with CEOs, the question that somebody asked also about how many hours that you work. What is happening in the US is that for CEOs, even political questions, everybody now expects a CEO to opine about all political issues. And I tend to say I focus on my areas of expertise, and that's all I can opine on. One should know one's limitations. I know my limitations. Academic curriculum is not one of my limitations. All of you folks are the experts on that. And again, all I can tell is we're always looking for great talent that has great rigor in academic pursuit, and that I think is the most important thing for us. I mean, when people have strong academic pursuit, I think it's a great thing. I'll take a few. Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Babarao. I'm a retired government servant, presently serving as an absent faculty for many years. So, being a teacher, I'm teaching mining engineering student as an absent faculty member. My interest is, it's not a question to sir, we want some advice from you because you are reached the highest level and all these things are there. From your side, if you give some suggestion to the students, it is benefited. So my advice from you is, suppose an engineering student who is having less marks, below average marks, my interest is the people all should get more above engineering, above average marks. So, going back to your college days and with all your experience, what suggestions or tips or what you can suggest for my students to get more marks? This is out of the question. So, whatever I ask, if it is wrong, sorry, please give your advice.
You know, again, in addition to the faculty, the thing I would say is, and some of my classmates here know this, I was fortunate because when I had difficulty understanding or comprehending, to your point, I would go to 𝗕𝗵𝗗𝗵𝗵. 𝗕𝗵𝗗𝗃 was, I think, the gold medalist in our batch. 𝗪𝗁𝗗𝗵𝗵 is a professor right now. And so find other people who can, if you're a student's not doing well. It was very interesting when my son went to college. You realize that, there's something about academics where people learn differently. And how you can, everybody talks about personalized education. And so I think there's an element of, if somebody is not doing well, somebody has to help them understand what is it that actually, is good. And sometimes you learn better from a classmate because the classmate is able to also teach you and explain things in a different way. And so that's how I benefited. Again, I can only speak to my experience. Academics is not my, area of specialization. I have a whole bunch of other areas of specialization, but, academics is not. And so I'm sure, you're the experts in all of this stuff. So that's what I would say. And not everybody is going to be academically brilliant. I mean, people have different skills. We all have our superpowers. And so find the superpower that helps.
I don't require answers, sir. Your suggestions are required to the students.
So the suggestion to all of you is clearly work hard, but otherwise find people that you know who may help you explain that in a better way. And I think that for me was very helpful. And so I would call Mahesh, and it would be 2 days before the final exam, and I would be like, Mahesh, it's a little bit of a crisis, now help me out here and tell me what I should study. And he knew how I could study, so he helped me a lot. So fine, you have to jugaad, right? That was my jugaad.
Biomedical engineering,
okay.
And I am also a proud alumnus of this college. So I just want you to highlight few things that you don't want the students to miss while they are in this prestigious college. The few things which they should not miss.
I mean, it's hard. It's so many things, right? I mean, again, it's when I think back, and I think back so fondly of my 4 years here. For me, the all-round education really helps. I mean, we have more facilities here than a lot of other places. I mean, the academics, we all come here for the pursuit of an academic degree. So clearly, first and foremost, has to be, are you doing your academics? I think hopefully you find different areas, The one thing I would say about the Indian system is finding electives. If people can find electives of other subjects that they want to learn, being exposed to things, because when you're exposed to things, sometimes it's equally valuable to understand what you don't like as what you like. People sometimes will take a class and they'll say, oh my God, I didn't like that class. But even that is knowledge, because you know what you like, what you're suited for. So the first advice is academics. I know everybody will tell you this, but it is important, because I think more than anything else, you're proving to yourself. That is the most important thing. The fact that you're proving to yourself that you can do it. Take advantage. I mean, the friendships that I founded here are friendships of a lifetime. And so, whether it was learning, as I said, that was the thing. I took part in a lot of extracurricular activities. Every debate, there used to be, I don't know if they do this now, just a minute sessions, what's the good word? Do they do all that nowadays? I was a member of Young Orators Club. And so I participated in all of that. I did, as I said, table tennis. So sports is also good activity. So again, but everybody knows what's right for you. So again, write it down. Write down what are the 3 or 4 things. And then go talk to faculty as well. I mean, faculty are there to advise you. And they know you better than I will. I mean, I'm coming in and I'm giving advice from the 20,000-foot level. Hopefully the faculty knows you. They know what you're capable of, and listen to them. The hard part when you're a kid that age is you don't realize how valuable the advice is. You only realize it much later. But that's, the brains are not completely formed at that age, so I don't know how to fix that. That's
Good morning, Shantanu. So this is Dr. 𝗕𝗏𝗃𝗀𝗏. Recently completed PhD in Osmania University. I'm going to receive my PhD certificate in August presence of you in the coming convocation.
I'm receiving my PhD in the August presence of you, sir.
Thank you, sir. So before, I want to have a clarification on artificial intelligence. I want to share my happiness that my son 𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗀𝗏 is working in Adobe, California. He stays at San Jose. Actually, he says that your dream platform, that is Adobe Experience platform, and his work of area is real-time and customer profile. So I want to share that information to you. Thank you so much, and I feel very happy that my son is in your company.
Thank you for sharing.
So the question is that the artificial intelligence nowadays we are seeing that it is fast growing. And recently I was seeing a video in WhatsApp. One girl, robot, is walking on the street like we cannot hardly find out that it is robot. It's like almost a human being. So in the coming days, if it is the so, in future, artificial intelligence robot may command the mankind. If such is the state, what is your word on that?
I think to your point, the advances in artificial intelligence are truly amazing. As I said, I've been spending more time with researchers. But I think if you take a step back, I think the advances in AI are because they're building on successive generations of computing paradigms, right? The fact is, when things move to the cloud, all the data move to the cloud. By virtue of the fact that the data move to the cloud, you could train these models. The fact that we have the kind of computing capabilities that we have, whether it's NVIDIA or Amazon, AWS, or Azure with Microsoft, that sort of allows it. I'm not a believer in general intelligence coming and replacing humans in the near time. So maybe it'll happen in some of your generation. I don't know that it happens in my generation. What I will say is humans who use artificial intelligence to do their jobs may replace humans who don't use artificial intelligence.
Option A, Reliance Industries. Reliance Industries Limited climbed 2 spots to number 53 on Forbes' latest Global 2000 list of public companies worldwide. It is the top-ranked Indian firm on the list. Forbes Global 2000 ranks the largest companies in the world using 4 metrics: sales, profits, assets, and market value.
Working with few colleges like 𝗪𝗏𝗏𝗪𝗏 and 𝗪𝗏𝗏𝗏 College in India, we would love to see a collaboration with Adobe in Osmania University. We could Photoshop a selfie with you.
Well, I think education, you're right. Access to education is something, I'll certainly follow up, with the principal to understand what it is to, make sure it's access. A lot of our stuff is freemium, and so, Firefly, you can go try it out, create an Adobe ID and use it, but I will follow up. It is our goal to get people to have access to our technology because, that is something we aspire for. So the question was around Firefly 5.0. We barely released image model 2 need. And you're already getting us to, go on to 5. So for everybody else, this is a couple of things about Adobe. We want anybody who has a visual piece of story that they want to tell, we want Adobe to be the way in which you tell that. When we started Firefly, there are 2 ways in which you can do it. You can train your models on all data, whether or not you have intellectual property. It was really important to us to train our data based on the intellectual property that we had licensed for. So unlike all of the other companies, we actually indemnify you for the use of Firefly. So that's, a big difference between everybody else in terms of what we do. I think even image model 2, it's unbelievable. The image improvements. If you look at all of these AI right now, and if you do a prompt, if you notice the hands are slightly off, there's certain things, faces are slightly off because a lot of it has to do with the licensing of the images. So I think we've done some pretty incredible work with GANs on, doing face recognition as well as improving that face. Where Adobe is headed is, we certainly have to do a model for video. We have to do a model for vector. So if you can do a model where you can actually generate frames of images, so that's a big area of exploration for us. 3D and what we can do around 3D and animation, we're creating our own models for that. When people ask me what's going to happen 5 years from now, a year ago, we didn't really have Firefly on the roadmap. So, I mean, again, going back to the question that somebody else asked about decisions, being able to pivot at a fast is also, the hallmark of a great company. So, but you're teaching the next generation of students, so you tell me what I should expect in terms of what happens in Firefly. But it's really exciting. It's unbelievably exciting. Okay.
Way back in 2018, when I was doing Adobe Office, you said go for blockchain technology. Okay. Go from that. But how far do you think the technology will go?
So Uday, who was my classmate, tells me that I told him in 2018 to go for blockchain technology. I don't know whether he is, unhappy that he pursued my advice and therefore, it hasn't done well. That's why I tell you that you shouldn't listen to me. That's what I've been telling people. Take out of this what you want. But blockchain. I think the benefits of blockchain, with all technology, whether it's AI, whether it's when the metaverse came, whether it's blockchain, I think it's not just about the technology, it's about what are the uses of technology. And will the use of that technology, can you work in your own mind the way it will be successful? I think where blockchain technology has benefits is ledger, right? A distributed ledger and distributed computing, and so that's the benefit. Anytime anybody says this technology is going to rule the world, chances are it's being overhyped. And every technology goes through this, it emerges, then you go through the hype cycle, then you go through the what's called trough of disillusionment, and then it sort of finds its purpose in life, so to speak. And so, I think it's the same with blockchain. I think in financial services, it's probably used a lot more than it's used in other verticals. And so I think, it has merit, the fact that it's a distributed ledger, and I think, so I think as people study all these new technologies, the downside is believing that any new technology will have relevance across every aspect of computing. But I think the way you learn all of these different things, hopefully you understand where it will be used and where it's not. So I would say blockchain is still in financial services, it's used a lot. I don't know that it's used a lot in document productivity or creativity, but that's okay. That's how I would answer your question. A few more and then are we almost done or? Okay.
Sir, I'm 𝗧𝗲𝗏 of mechanical first year. I wanted to ask 3 questions for you, sir.
Somebody asked 1, now it's gone to 2, now it's going to 3. Okay, go ahead.
Sir, how deepfake network imaging is ruining the world? That everyone are editing videos and photos using deepfake network or software, sir. That how come they trust blindly that images are deepfake?
Okay, that's one question. I got it. Next.
Then how you invested your time in Adobe, sir, during recession time?
Okay, recession.
During recession.
Do you have a third question or that's
yes,
it?
During, sir, Adobe.
That's fine. Let me answer your first 2 questions. I think the first question is a good one, which is, it is true that Adobe software is used in the creation of the world's content. We created this thing called Content Authenticity Initiative, and what the Content Authenticity Initiative is to say that every piece of content, how can you do a watermark, or think of it as a nutrition label, right? I mean, when you drink this bottle of water, it has a nutrition label, it tells you where it was produced, when it might be relevant till how many calories that you have. And so every piece of Adobe software right now, if you use Adobe software, you can actually create this nutrition label. You can do the content credentials for it. And so within Photoshop, you can say this is. It was a pretty interesting week this week. Leica, which is a camera manufacturer, they have also included it. So in order to solve this content authenticity problem, the first thing is, all the way down to chips, all the way down to camera manufacturers, they've all agreed that they will put this nutrition label. So if you take a picture with a Canon camera like he is, it'll say this picture was taken at Osmania University on the 31st of October at this time. Okay, so that's step 1. If that picture was edited within Photoshop or edited within software, we will tell you, so-and-so edited it, this is the new provenance of that picture. We have worked with distributors, so New York Times, Facebook, Microsoft, other companies, they have all agreed that this metadata associated with the images, they will transmit it. So if it's being sent to a social media site, if it's being sent to a different site, it also has all of these content credentials. So there's a lot of the plumbing that's being done to combat what you're referring to as deepfakes. There's a fourth step in that process. And in many ways, the fourth step in the process is the most important. Again, as I said, President Biden, just today, he invited me to come because they're talking about what AI is going to do. The fourth step in the process is all of you as consumers, when you see a piece of content on that social media site, or whether it's on YouTube or wherever you're looking at your piece of content, are you going to look at it and say, I want to understand the content credentials? So it doesn't matter the fact that everybody is accompanying the piece of content with the appropriate metadata. Until you folks say, I want to look at it and I want to know who created it. Was it an official Osmania Engineering College piece of content that, Professor 𝗕𝗓𝗄𝗃 signed? So the plumbing or the infrastructure to do it all exists, and we can do it. And you can do a check mark. We work with the government, both here as well as, the center of government. They want for the elections to actually publish that piece of content and have the check mark. The question is whether consumers will actually pay the attention, and when they see a piece of content that doesn't have that check mark, will they say, I know it's fake, and therefore I'm not going to look at it. So here's where human involvement is also going to be required. So that's how I would answer your question. We've done a lot. We've been working on this for years. There are 3,000 companies that have all signed up. They're all part of this content authenticity initiative. You can check it out online. Camera manufacturers, distributors of content, authors like us. It's that last phase of what the consumer will do. And I think governments are going to be the most important, because if governments start to publish all their content and they make sure that they know that this check mark is there. It's a bit like when people did digital commerce and PayPal came along, or UPI here in this country, you know that it's authentic. So there's that part of that knowing that it's authentic and caring that it's authentic. You all care that it's authentic when you do digital commerce because it's your money. Similarly, when you look at a piece of content, if you
should not be trusted very blindly.
I agree with that. Thank you. Okay. Two more, you okay with that? Last question. Okay, last question. Okay.
Hi, sir.
Yeah.
Hi, sir.
Hi.
I would like to expect two answers from you. One is for parents and brothers, sisters, so many are here. Other answer from you is towards responsible persons. First question is, my question is, sir, if you see from LKG to PG, everyone, teachers, everyone motivating towards software. Even you are also shifted from core to software. If all intellectuals like you people are traveling towards software, what about other disciplines? Whereas if you see, other disciplines are reaching Chandrayaan up to moon, but so many disciplines are still at back end. This question, sir, how we can balance the universe and society? And second thing, you please advise the parents also towards software. Thank you, sir.
Again, it takes different kinds of disciplines. I'm a big believer in that. And, but natural selection happens, right? I mean, the fact that we have full capacity for every discipline, the fact that you reintroduced mining engineering, I think it reflects that there is interest in multiple disciplines here in Osmania. And I will say, again, I'm not biased towards software, but I will say that even in mining or in mechanical or in any other field, how you use computers and being able to program is only going to be a helpful aspect for all of them as well. So that's what I would do. And as it relates to parents, my kids, the last person they would listen to when I gave them advice is me. So I'm careful about who I give advice to. Okay, last question.
So Dr. 𝗕𝗓𝗄𝗧, Professor of PC and alumnus at Osmania and also alumnus at HBS. What would be the best contribution you can give it to a particular organization where you're working, and what would be the best thing you can give back to the alumni?
The best contribution to a university, as I said, my legacy, hopefully at Adobe, is that I leave the company in a better spot than when I was there. And I leave good management, right? I mean, at the end of the day, we're in the people business. And so if we have a scalable organization, that's what I work on every day. I want to build it so that the company not only does great software, but we do it in a responsible way. I think responsible companies, that is a big, important part for, what I'm trying to do. I think in terms of helping my alma mater, I don't know. I mean, you tell me. I'm getting energy from all of you, so hopefully I pay it forward a little bit. But thank you all again very much for having me here today. Really.
It is rightly said that there is nothing more influential than the words spoken by someone whom we look up to. Thank you, sir. We are grateful for your time and presence. Moving on, I would now like to request Professor P. Chandrasekhar, sir, Vice Principal, UCOU, to give vote of thanks.
Good afternoon to one and all. Respected dignitaries on the dais and off the dais. On behalf of University College of Engineering and my personal behalf, I profusely thank Shri Shantanu Narayen ji, Chair and CEO Adobe USA, for a momentous and valuable interactive session. Proud alumni of EC Department and Engineering College, we congratulate you on receiving honorable doctorate from prestigious Osmania University. We, the faculty and young budding engineers, are motivated and energized with the session. The University College of Engineering, alma mater, is looking forward to your guidance and support to take our institute to next higher level. We thank Professor D. Ravindra, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Osmania University, guide and driving force to our institute, for his initiative for this session to happen. We thank the bridge between the alumni and the institute, that is Alumni Association, in particular Dr. 𝗕𝗵𝗄𝗵, President Alumni Association, for his proactive initiative for this event to happen. We thank Professor 𝗧-𝗦𝗰𝗵, former Vice Chancellor, Professor 𝗕𝗵𝗵𝗨𝗡𝗃, Registrar, Osmania University, Dean Faculty of Engineering, other guests, proud alumni, teaching faculty, heads of the departments, and my dear students, for your presence and active participation to make this session a grand success. I thank one and all who are involved directly and indirectly to make this event a grand success. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We are delighted to inform our esteemed dignitaries that there will be an exclusive guided visit to the ECE department following this session. Thank you all for being a part of this gathering where knowledge flowed freely and ideas were exchanged. Your presence has made this session truly exceptional. Wishing you all continued success. Signing off, Sanya.